Paul McNeill, you've absolutely shattered my life, you have, because I always thought I was a Brummie. Well, I am a Brummie, really, because that's where I come from. But I'm also, it turns out, a man of Kent, aren't I?
Absolutely. Your roots definitely go back to Kent.
Because my great-great-grandfather, you say, was born in Canterbury in the 1790s and a fighting man.
Absolutely right. He was a member of the Rifle Brigade. He was born in Burgate, just outside or just inside Canterbury. And he travelled with the Rifle Brigade to France. He fought in Toulouse. He fought at the Battle of Waterloo, got a medal for it. So we know he did his bit for the country. He was in the army for a long time, over 20 years. While he was in France, he met a French girl called Félicité Pénin.
So I've got a French connection as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
His name is Samuel, and he was the one who spelt Dinenage in this unusual way, D-I-N-E-N-A-G-E.
That's absolutely right, yeah. And he would have spelt it that way himself. The army spelt it a different way, D-I-N-N-A-G-E, but because he was literate, he spelt it his own way when he left the army. And so that's how we could trace them. And it would seem that everyone I can find that's got the surname Dinenage spelt your way was actually descended from your great-great-grandfather.
But before that, the family were probably Dunages, you think, which is a Sussex name.
Yeah, exactly. It may have been spelt with an I, it may have been spelt with a U, but yeah, they were people that would have worked on the boats as a boat hand or a dock hand, that would have stored goods in boats, from the word dunnage. And the majority of people with that name originated in Sussex, virtually all of them.
So I'm a man of Kent, I'm a man of Sussex, but I'm also a Hampshire hog, it turns out, because my great-grandfather moved down to Southampton to work for the Ordnance Survey.
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
tell us about him.
Well, he was 17 when he came to Southampton and actually married as soon as he got here. He married a girl from Liverpool and worked with the Ordnance Survey for a number of years, over 8 years.
And the other Southampton connection, of course, I've got a great uncle, or grand uncle as they were called, who actually went down on the Titanic.
Yeah, that was James. Basically, your great-grandfather ran into a few difficulties, became bankrupt after opening up an inn that didn't work for him. And he left with the younger children and went to the Midlands, but the elder son stayed in Southampton and went to sea. And one of them, James, as you say, he went down on the Titanic. They never identified his body.
But it was my actual father who then brought the family back down south to Portsmouth in 1964, I think.
Yeah, 64, 63.
63, you're absolutely right. You know me better than I know myself. So we came back south, and that's where we are now.
Yeah, so you came full circle, really.
I mean, this is ever so complicated, and you've managed to summarise it brilliantly. But how did you start tracing my family tree, and how difficult is it?
It really depends on the name. With your name being Dinenage spelt in a particular way, it's fairly straightforward because there were only one set of descendants that spelt their name that way. But it's really a matter of being very systematic in what you do. You build up the trunk of your family tree first through the registers, birth, marriage and death. That gives you names, dates, a few places. But what really fascinates me is, why did these things happen? Why do you think you're from the Midlands when really you're from the south?
And in fact, you've got my family tree over here.
Absolutely. This is the trunk of your tree, if you like. So these are the people you're directly descended from.
Fantastic.
Going back over 200 years. So back to George III's time.
Incredible. And it all started with Samuel Dinenage, and you've a replica of one of his war medals.
All men that fought at Waterloo would have received the Waterloo medal, and there it is.
Incredible. So then, at the end of all this, and I'd no idea, I'm a man of Kent, a man of Sussex, a Hampshire hog, and I've got a French connection. And thanks to Samuel Dinenage, Fred Dinenage, after all these years, turns out to be a southerner.
A true Pompey supporter.
What a result.